Good morning everyone. In this video we are going to talk about the different types of ways in which any machine learning model is trained. And before talking about the training of machine learning based model, I would like to talk about a little bit about the difference between artificial intelligence and machine learning. So artificial intelligence is not a new concept. It was there like 2 decades before also, but machine learning is a relatively new concept. Talking about AI, initially what used to happen whenever we integrated a little bit of automation, जब industrial revolution हुआ, there were industries and we थोड़ा we slid in automation. We said कि अगर ये होता है तो ये हो जाए. If a product is coming from this plant, it should be directly moved to this plant. बीच में आपने human interaction कम कर दिया. So you integrated very low level of automation, and such type of tasks were classified classified as the AI driven task, artificial intelligence driven task. So 2 decades before, AI was very low level and it was all about little bits of automation. But the scientists, they always knew the potential of AI and they kept on working on it. And as the storage capacity and the processing speed of the computers, of the machines increased, and a lot of work also came forward by different people, and when we started to exploit those capabilities of our machines, we were able to find out amazing things. And that is where machine learning comes into picture, where we are saying that let's use the processing power of this machine, let's use the logic which is there in our brain, and let's get something beautiful out of it, right? So that is the entire working. And when we talk about machine learning, we're talking more about data. We're talking more about prediction, learning, statistics, maths. Everything is integrated in machine learning. And if you go a little bit deeper into deep learning, it is even more a subset of machine learning. It is more mathematically oriented, and I think you will learn about it in your next year. As of now, I want you to know that there are 3 different ways, even 4, there is one more category, semi-supervised also. But for now, let's talk about these 3 categories. The first one is supervised learning, second is unsupervised learning, third is reinforcement learning. So when we talk about such type of learning methods, we are always playing with data, right? So we need to know what type of data we're dealing with. And for your reference, for machine learning based models reference, there are 2 types of data: labeled data and unlabeled data. So labeled data is the one which has specific labels कि इस column की entry इस नाम से associated है या इस weight से associated है. Every entry is labeled in one way or the other way. तो हमारे पास x भी है, y भी है, और हम उनके बीच में relationship establish कर रहे हैं. बट वेन वी टॉक अबाउट अनलेबल्ड डेटा, तो हमारे पास सिर्फ डेटा है, हमारे पास लेबल नहीं है. वी डोंट नो वेदर इट इज़ द रोल नंबर, और इट इज़ योर SSN नंबर, और इट इज़ योर आधार नंबर, और इट इज़ योर बिटकॉइन नंबर. It can be any number, right? There is no label. But if the same data was labeled, then we would know कि इसमें से आधार नंबर कौन से हैं, SSN नंबर कौन से हैं, यूनिवर्सिटी रोल नंबर कौन से हैं. और लेबलिंग में बहुत एफर्ट जाता है. A lot of effort goes into labeling data and it is very exhaustive. तो इनिशियली हम सुपरवाइज लर्निंग पे आए. जब हम सुपरवाइज लर्निंग से थोड़ा आगे बढ़े, हमें लगा डेटा तो बहुत सारा है तो कुछ और करते हैं, तो हम अनसुपरवाइज लर्निंग पे गए. और इन दोनों से अलग एक किसी साइकोलॉजिस्ट ने डिस्कवर किया था, रीइंफोर्समेंट लर्निंग, एंड इट वाज डिराइव्ड फ्रॉम अ डॉग. The scientist, or the developer, whoever he was, he thought कि कुत्ते को अगर हम good dog बोलते हैं, so he becomes happy, and if we say that it is a bad dog, then he becomes sad, right? So over a period of time, the dog will know what is right behavior and what is wrong behavior. So why can't we do that with machines, right? He was right, the approach could work, and that is what it is all about. जब आप implement भी करोगे, आप लोगे अरे बस इतना सा था, इतने से कोई हम एग्जीक्यूट करने में टाइम लगा देते हैं. इट इज़ वेरी ईजी टू डू. So we'll talk a little bit about supervised, unsupervised and reinforcement learning. After that we will talk about some techniques from supervised learning, a little bit maybe about unsupervised, and because those are the techniques you need to know about, so we will discuss them. A lot of these were discussed before also, so in a way I would be repeating it, but yeah, let's do this. So talking about supervised learning, it is task driven. If you see it over here, yeah, supervised learning is task driven always. You just need to specify कि ऐसा 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 करना है इस डेटा में, right? And according to that वो आपका next value predict कर देगा. Unsupervised में, again supervised, we are working with labeled data. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. I talked about labeled and unlabeled data. So labeled data is under supervised learning. हम supervised learning में labeled data डालते हैं, और unlabeled data हम unsupervised learning में डालते हैं, where we are saying that we are leaving the algorithm unsupervised, you just give us whatever you're finding, right? So that is done on unlabeled data. And talking about supervised learning, it is always task driven. It works on labeled data. It has training data, lots and lots of training data, because without training data you cannot supervise, right? So if you look at this diagram, you have a model based on supervised learning. आपके पास पहले भी बहुत सारा डेटा था, आपने उस डेटा को यूज़ करके you have mentioned, you have labeled and you have found out how you're going to categorize new information. So you had training data. This is your model, और model के पास training data था. उस training data से it has trained itself, right? It knows that these are apples because we specified it. It was known data, and now the model is trained. अब हम उसे जब new data देंगे, so the model is going to predict it as an apple, and the model is going to predict it right, be it for oranges, apples, grapes, bananas, because you have trained your model depending upon your knowledge, depending upon your labeling of data. And it is used on test data for finding out if it is working or not. So supervised learning is going to use training data, it is going to use test data. And talking about the examples or ways in which it is implemented, so we have advertisements, right? Whatever we look for, same type of advertisements are showed there on our search engines. That is a work of supervised learning, where the algorithm has identified me with a particular item and now it is showing me the results. Then we have spam classification, which you might have seen in your Gmail: primary, promotion, extras, deleted, spam. So it can be done automatically by using supervised learning. Then we have face recognition. So if you have a lot of training data, you can develop your own algorithm for recognizing faces. And this was the project done by some of my friends also. When they worked in college, they worked on face recognition algorithms, and they were able to prepare that project within a period of 4 months. So it was good. And what they did was they generated their own data. They took up lots and lots of photographs from of my classmates, and then they trained their data on that. So this is your supervised learning. Then we have again one more example. So if you have the model, right, you know which one is the spam mail and which one is not a spam. And once you do that, once you classify कि ये spam है ये नहीं है, because manually you will also be doing it, and depending upon that behavior the algorithm is going to learn. होता है ना ऐसा, जैसे आपको मेल आया प्रमोशंस में and you have shifted it to your primary inbox, so the next time the algorithm is going to know कि अगर इस email address से mail आता है, so it should be redirected to inbox and not to promotions. So it is supervised learning because you're labeling all the time. And once your system is ready, उसके बाद जितनी भी मेल आएंगी, they will be separated on their own. This is the beauty of supervised learning. It enables the machine to be trained to classify observations into some class, depending upon again your labels and your data and your problem statement of what you want to do. Then we have your unsupervised learning, which is data driven, right? It is not task driven. When we were talking about supervised learning, we were talking about task driven nature. जहाँ हमने बोल दिया कि ये बताओ ये सेब है या फिर ये केला है या फिर ये संतरा है, दैट इज़ योर टास्क. यू गेव इट ट्रेनिंग डेटा, यू गेव इट टेस्ट डेटा और उसने बता दिया. लेकिन as we emerged, as we progressed on the timeline, हम 2010 से 2015 से 2020 में आए, so we figured out that we have a lot of data. What to do with that data? That data is not labeled. If we sit to label that data, it will take a lot of time, a lot of processing, and we have this again resource, raw material. How can we put it to use? So then this unlabeled data and working on unlabeled data came into picture. सुपरवाइज लर्निंग में देखो क्या होता है, आपके पास लेबल डेटा, बहुत सिंपल एल्गोरिथम्स लगाते हो कि मुझे ये बता दो. अगेन स्पैम है, नॉट स्पैम है, ए है, बी है, सी है, क्या है, बहुत सिंपल कैटेगरीज आप देते हो. इट इज़ वेरी इजी टू डू. बट व्हेन यू हैव अ लॉट ऑफ अनलेबल्ड डेटा, अगेन योर सोशल मीडिया, योर लॉग्स, अ लॉट ऑफ अनलेबल्ड डेटा, तो आप क्या करोगे? देन अनसुपरवाइज लर्निंग इमर्ज्ड, वेयर वी सेड कि लेट द मशीन डू इट्स थिंग, because humanly if we do it, we are not going to find good algorithms. So what they said was they developed complex algorithms and they said that we will feed it a lot of data and we will see what emerges out of it. कुछ ना कुछ पैटर्न्स निकलेंगे, कुछ ना कुछ हैबिट्स निकलेंगी, कुछ ना कुछ रिजल्ट ऐसा आएगा which might be productive and which might be put to good use. So unsupervised learning works on unlabeled data. It is driven, data driven. It is used in recommender system. आप कोई चीज़ देखते हो, जैसे फॉर एग्जाम्पल देयर वाज दिस केस स्टडी अबाउट टारगेट स्टोर्स होते हैं जो अगेन नॉट इन साउथ एशिया और इंडिया में तो नहीं है, बाकी कंट्रीज़ में देयर आर टारगेट स्टोर्स लाइक वॉलमार्ट स्टोर्स. And what they did was they observed the shopping patterns of individuals and they found out that ladies who were getting pregnant, just 2 months later they used to buy a lot of bed sheets, a lot of curtains, a lot of sweets and all of such kind of material, right? So maybe humanly it was not possible to identify that pattern out of their eating habits, out of their shopping habits. But if you used unsupervised learning and you implemented recommender based system, then you will realize, वो आपको system बता देगा कि if this lady is buying maybe 5 packets of biscuit and 10 packets of this and 3 packets of this, then she might be pregnant, and you might start giving her vouchers for baby diapers and baby supplies, right? So that is how their entire ecosystem works, on the basis of recommendation. And similarly, if you go to your Amazon or Flipkart, you will see Myntra also, there are many apps, they heavily use recommender systems because it increases the probability of buying. So supposedly I go online to buy a natural organic incense, right? I buy white sage. So if I'm buying sage, along with that sage they will show me some other thing which people buy along with sage, right? They will show me some type of coconut bowl to light my sage in. They might show me some type of incense oils. They might show me some type of stones, because they know that if a person is buying X item, then it is around it might buy some other items also which are there in that structure which the algorithm has found out. So recommender systems, buying habits and groupings, it all works hand in hand. And as you can see in the diagram, we have input data. We have lots and lots of apples, pears, oranges, lemons. We give it to the model and the model says okay, I see a pattern. And if you remember that crab example, male and female, again you think it is humanly possible to measure in mm's each and every crab? It is not possible, right? But it is possible to take images, and those images can be scanned by our algorithms, and that algorithm can give you a measurement कि इतने measurement पे it is a male और इतने measurement पे it is a female. Yes, and definitely your algorithm is going to take hours to train. ऐसा मत सोचना कि instantly हो जाता है. It takes a lot of time, So I have seen my mentor's laptop turned on for 24 hours, 36 hours. Even my laptop, it was burned because it was turned on for 36 hours and there was a short circuit in my system, right? That is where the beauty of cloud computing comes into picture, because we can hire that much of storage, we can hire that much of system, we can redirect that much of data कि आप यहाँ से data लो, execute करो and just give me the result, so that you don't run it on your own system. अपने घर पे supposedly मैं अपने घर पे system चला रही हूँ and you know there is no electricity, and if my laptop stops, you know the algorithm is going to stop and I'm going to waste, you know, a lot of money. So such type of workloads are now being executed on cloud. That is another, you know, one part which I want you to know about. And coming back to this discussion, we have a lot of unlabeled data. We have a model which says that, you know, I see a pattern and I will classify these objects from now on. So unsupervised learning works on unlabeled data, have intelligent algorithms that can take terabytes and terabytes of unlabeled data and make sense of it. It is a huge source of potential profit for many industries. For many industries, it is very beneficial because they have a lot of data and they don't know what to do about it. So unsupervised learning, again, supervised learning is task driven. It works on historic data and it again tested on your test data, and it is very easy, not really complex in nature as compared to unsupervised learning, which is data driven. It works on unlabeled data and it is more complex in nature as compared to supervised learning. Then we have reinforcement learning, where we are saying that, you know, this is your agent, your algorithm, you give something to it and your agent is going to act on that. After that, if it is correct, you give them the reward. If it is not correct, you say that it is not correct, and the state of the agent is going to change. So you are learning. This agent is learning all the time depending upon the action, the environment, the reward and the state. So reinforcement learning is all about reinforcing good and bad behavior. If the result is right, if the solution is right, then we say that okay, it is right. If the solution is wrong, we say okay, you're wrong. Over and over it repeats, over and over, you know, maybe millions of times, and then your model is learned and then your model is ready. And reinforcement learning is based on, again, that analogy that if you say good dog and bad dog, the dog will know what is bad behavior and what is good behavior. Same goes for your machine. एंड जैसे हमने टास्क ड्रिवन और डेटा ड्रिवन की बात करी थी, ऐसे ही अगर आपको रीइंफोर्समेंट लर्निंग को क्लासीफाई करना है, सो यू कैन से दैट इट वर्क्स ऑन टाइम डिपेंडेंट सीक्वेंस ऑफ लेबल, right? Because slowly it is being labeled, it is not directly labeled. And then we have learning from mistakes, right? Good or bad. Reinforcement learning is very behavior driven. So we had we have task driven, supervised, we have data driven, unsupervised, and we have behavior driven reinforcement learning. It has influences from the fields of neuroscience and psychology, yes, because it is derived from that pattern of cognitive ability. Okay, so again this lecture is again long. How will I summarize this? Let's summarize this. So for machine learning, these are the different categories and we will discuss them a bit. For reinforcement learning, the implementation can go in real-time decisions, for robot navigation, for learning, for acquiring new skills, you know, maybe learning a new language, and for gaming. Talking about unsupervised can be used for clustering or classification, dimensionality reduction, for finding out features, for finding out structure, for finding out meaningful compression, data visualization. Clustering may we have recommender system, targeted marketing, customer segmentation, and for supervised learning we have regression or classification. So regression may we have weather forecasting, market forecasting, estimating life expectancy, population growth prediction, advertising popularity prediction, and for classification direct class, image classify कर दिया, fraud classify कर दिया, diagnostic निकाल दिया, customer retention, all of this goes in classification. Again, you don't have to memorize all this, you just have to know कि ऐसा ऐसा भी होता है. You should know that there are ways to solve any type of problem and how you're going to achieve, arrive at those ways. So this is your map to find out in which category you want to fall depending upon your problem statement, and you have to find out if it has potential benefit or not, otherwise it is of no use. So find out where you're going to fall and which type of algorithm or design technique you are going to use. Then we have the classification of machine learning: supervised, unsupervised. Supervised can further be classified into classification and regression. We have support vector machine, naive Bayes, nearest neighbor, decision trees, support vector machines, linear regression. For clustering, we have k-means, hierarchical, Gaussian mixture, hidden Markov model. Again, you don't have to memorize all of this. This is just for your reference purpose, because further on, you will learn about it in more detail. This is more about, giving you an overview of such type of techniques, and we will discuss some of the techniques in particular. This chart, I would ask you as an home assignment to go through this chart, because it is self-explanatory, and even if you don't understand it, you can Google these terms: housing price prediction, medical imaging. That will give you a lot of idea, and read all of these categories so that you understand why one particular category falls under that particular type of learning. And in the next video, we will talk about supervised learning algorithms. In particular, we will talk about linear regression, logistic regression, decision tree, naive Bayes, KNN, support vector machine. Then for unsupervised learning, we have already talked about it. So let's see. I have some surprises for you. If we have to do it, we will do some techniques for unsupervised learning also, but possibly we will be keeping our discussion to supervised learning only. That is all from my side. So if you have any questions, again, you can ask me, and I hope that you have a good day, have a safe day, stay safe, stay happy. Thank you very, very much.